Have you ever been listening to a jazz band and just realize they aren't reading any sheet music? They are just making it all up right there on the spot.
Yeah, the notes are just flying.
And the rhythms are so complicated, but somehow they all sound amazing together. That spontaneous thing they do, that's improvisation. Today, we're going to peel back the curtain on that.
We're going to figure out how they seem to pull music out of thin air.
And more importantly, what the strict rules are that they actually follow to make sure it all works.
It's like the ultimate high-wire act in music, really. Because improvisation is, at its heart, the art of creating music spontaneously, in the moment.
Thinking up new melodies, new rhythms right as you're playing them.
Exactly, not reading notes off a page.
And what that means for you when you're listening is that if you go see the same song played tonight and then again next week, those two performances will be totally different.
It's never the same twice. It's this living, breathing thing.
It's a musical conversation. They're all reacting to each other instantly.
A real dialogue. But here's the key. While it sounds completely free and spontaneous, that's only possible because of years, and I mean years, of deep practice.
Okay, so there's a structure, a rigid one.
The freedom is earned through mastering the rules.
So let's unpack that. Let's start with the essential tools they use, the raw materials, the notes themselves.
To build their improvised melodies, jazz musicians rely really heavily on a very specific set of notes called the blues scale.
Okay, let's dig into that, because if you've had music lessons, you probably started with, the standard major scales. They sound bright and happy.
Right.
So why does jazz kind of throw that out and lean on the blues scale instead? What makes it so special?
It's all about tension. The blues scale has these specific notes called blue notes.
Blue notes.
Yeah, and if you play them on a piano against a normal major chord, they can sound a little jarring, a little off.
Okay.
But when you use them correctly in jazz, they give the music that soulful, sometimes slightly sad or gritty feeling. They're the emotional core of it.
I kind of think of it like an artist's color palette. You could paint a scene with just primary colors, but adding these blue notes is like adding shadow and depth. It just makes the sound richer, more complex.
That's a great way to put it. And musicians practice these scales relentlessly. I mean, in all 12 keys.
So it becomes muscle memory.
Exactly. So when they hear a chord change coming, those notes are just
Yeah.
ready for their fingers. They're building a vocabulary they can use without even thinking.
So they have the notes, but jazz is nothing without that unique rhythm. The rhythm is the real heartbeat of the music, and it has this specific bouncy feeling. We call it swing.
Oh, the swing feeling is absolutely non-negotiable. If it doesn't swing, it's not jazz.
Right.
Most music you hear today, it uses equal timing, 1 and 2.
Right.
But with swing, the eighth notes are not equal. You have a long, short pattern, almost like a skip.
It's more like a gallop than a march, isn't it? That long, short thing creates this sense of constant motion.
Precisely. It gives it a bouncing feeling that's light and energized. But here's where it gets really sophisticated. Professional soloists will often play slightly behind the main beat. They drag the rhythm just a little bit. Or sometimes they'll even push slightly ahead of it.
That slight push and pull is so interesting. It keeps you on your toes as a listener. It stops the music from sounding, robotic.
It does.
But wait a minute, if the soloist can just play loose with the timing, how does the rest of the band keep it all together? Doesn't that risk the whole thing just falling apart?
That is the challenge for the rhythm section. While the soloist is experimenting, the foundation, the drums, and especially the double bass, they have to be rock solid.
They're the anchor.
Completely.
Oh, yeah.
The bass player's laying down a steady walking line, and the drummer is adding these constant accents, so even if the soloist bends time, the original beat is always there waiting for them.
Okay, so we've got the toolkit of notes and the heartbeat of the rhythm. Now, how do they actually navigate a performance? You can't just throw notes out there randomly. You need a map, right?
You absolutely need a map. And that map is the song structure. Most jazz performances follow a really clear, predictable plan.
Okay.
They start by playing the main, recognizable melody of the song. That part is called the head.
The head. So that's the tune everyone knows. It sets up the song's identity. And then once the head is done, the real fun starts, the solos.
And crucially, they are not soloing over silence. While the soloist is playing, the background instruments, the rhythm section, are repeating the original sequence of chords from the song. Over and over.
And that repeating cycle, that's the foundation for the solo.
Yes, and it has a name. It's called a chorus.
So the chorus is like a musical loop. If the song was originally, say, 32 bars long, that 32-bar chord pattern just keeps cycling.
Exactly. The soloist might take 2, 3, maybe even 4 choruses to tell their story. It provides both freedom and safety. The soloist can wander, knowing the band will always bring them back to the start of the next chorus.
And once everyone's had a turn to solo.
They all come back together and play the head one last time to signal the end.
And that simple structure is why musicians who have never even met before can just show up to a jam session and play together.
They all know the map.
Okay, so let's talk about the environment of that map. The harmony, the chords.
Right. Harmony is just combining notes to create chords, and jazz chords are incredibly complex.
That's that sophisticated flavor you mentioned. How do they make them sound so rich and almost mysterious compared to, like, a simple pop song?
They use something called extensions. A basic chord has 3 notes, but jazz players will add extra notes on top, a 9th, an 11th, a 13th.
So they're adding more layers.
It's like taking a photo and adding a complex color filter. It's the same picture, but the mood just instantly changes. It becomes more complex, maybe a little unresolved.
So the chords create the emotional landscape, and the improviser has to instantly recognize that landscape and play melodies that fit the mood. That sounds like a huge task.
It is. They aren't reading those notes off a page. They study from lead sheets, which are just simple charts with the melody and chord symbols like C minor 7.
But they have to have it all memorized for the performance.
Completely memorized. That mastery of harmony is what allows them to actually influence the emotional direction of the song in real time.
So shifting from the map to how they actually navigate it, how do the band members communicate? There's no conductor, there's no script.
They talk to each other through the music, and the main way they do that is with a technique called call and response.
Call and response.
It's a fundamental pattern. It works like a really fast debate. One musician plays a short phrase, the call, and another musician, maybe the pianist, immediately answers back. That's the response.
And sometimes the soloist will play a musical question and then answer it themselves, right? In their own solo.
Exactly. This constant conversation is what keeps the music so engaging. It demands incredible focus and active listening.
You really have to be paying attention to everyone else.
Intensely. It makes jazz a very, very social form of music.
Let's talk about the instruments for a second, because everyone has a specific job in this conversation.
Right. The lead soloists, your saxophone, your trumpet, they're the main storytellers. They get those long, melodic, dramatic solos.
Then you've got the support players. Piano and guitar are super flexible. They can play the chords, the harmony, but they can also jump in with little melodic phrases themselves.
They provide the texture.
And at the bottom of it all,
The double bass. It provides the low notes that define the harmony and, maybe most importantly, keeps the tempo absolutely steady. The backbone.
and the drummer. I feel like the drummer is often misunderstood as just a timekeeper.
In jazz, they are so much more. They are constantly reacting to the soloist, creating these complex textures with symbols and accents. They don't just keep time, they help drive the energy forward.
It's a unified machine then, everyone with a specialized role.
It has to be.
And all of this, the complex structure, the timing, the conversation, it only happens because of years of really intense training.
To be a great improviser, you have to build this almost superhuman connection between your brain and your instrument, and that all starts with your ear. Ear training is the daily work of a jazz musician. They have to train their ears to instantly recognize any note or chord they hear. The goal is simple, really.
What's that?
If you can hear a melody in your head, any melody, you have to be able to play it instantly on your instrument without thinking.
It's connecting the imagination directly to your fingers.
Exactly. Bypassing the whole idea of sheet music. They spend hours just singing melodies and then playing them back perfectly. Without that, you'd just be guessing and it would all be chaos.
And their training isn't just about technique, is it?
Not at all. Listening to the masters, Louis Armstrong, Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, that's just as important as practicing your scales.
You're not just listening for fun, you're studying.
You are. Students will often copy entire solos note for note off old records. They're building a vocabulary of musical ideas.
So it's like learning a language by memorizing common phrases instead of just grammar rules.
That's a perfect analogy. They internalize the language of jazz so they can string those classic phrases together in new, surprising ways when they solo.
So all that preparation leads to the performance. The spotlight hits, and the soloist's job is to tell a story.
A really good solo is like any great story. It starts simple, with a few introductory ideas.
Yeah.
Then it develops them, builds the energy,
Ice speed and volume, the dynamics.
until it reaches a thrilling climax. That's the moment the soloist is playing their fastest, most energetic, most complex phrases.
But it's also about knowing when not to play, right?
Yes, that is so important. A powerful soloist knows how to leave space, silences, let the music breathe, so the audience can actually absorb what just happened.
It's a balance between intensity and restraint.
It is.
But the internal challenge must be huge. I mean, you're making stuff up live in front of an audience. The risk of playing a wrong note is always there. How do you deal with that fear?
Improvising in public is it's terrifying at first. Successful players learn to treat every performance, even every mistake, as a creative opportunity. They learn to accept the risk.
So you can't worry about being perfect.
You can't. You have to be committed to the moment. They learn to turn what was almost a mistake into a new, beautiful phrase. And the only way to build that confidence is to perform in public. Over and over.
Until the excitement of creating something new is bigger than the fear of messing up?
And that joy is the ultimate payoff for all that hard work.
Absolutely. That feeling of pure creative freedom, discovering a beautiful melody that literally never existed a second ago. Musicians call it being in the zone.
And if you look at the bigger picture, jazz improvisation teaches incredible life skills. Quick thinking, problem solving under pressure, and how to work with others by listening more than you talk.
So here's the key takeaway for you. Jazz is so much more than notes on a page. It's a dynamic conversation built on a deep structure and years of hard work. Next time you hear a solo, don't just listen for the fast notes. Listen for the story.
And for the conversation happening between all the players, it is truly one of the most exciting forms of human expression, showing that the greatest freedom often comes from the strictest discipline.
Good luck with your studies.